Yeah, yeah. See, I put the ears up. That's because spring's almost here. Wow, it's here, but it's got a. Okay, yeah, spring's here, and my wife's making me throw away my old T-shirts. So well, here's a. I feel like well, I got the new jacket on, and see this here? That's the moves around the collar there. It's yeah, I guess it's due, eh? Ooh, making rags with it, but you should make myself a machine to to do this. Yeah, there. Ooh, yeah. There must be a machine that does this. Hey, yeah. I little story. These guys have time. This is what this is all about. Story time this morning. Yeah. Just a side note. When I was young, I used to work. 14 years old. Even 13, but I talked about this in the past. Me and my brother, we used to unload wood out of boxcars, and on the siding there, and we used to stack it and then strap it. It's good money then. I was quite a few years ago, and I made around $100 a week then, just doing that. So it was worthwhile, but long hours, and in the sun, like in July and August, and the way the siding was oriented, those boxcars, the doors, they'd be right on the side where the sun had shine, Anyways, this is not what this is all about this morning. That just little side note, Yeah, new coat. Well, hang on. See, old jacket. Where is it? Right here. Old jacket. I keep it handy, because I'm still not used to this, And sometimes I put that one on because I don't want to rip this one or put grease on it or make welding holes, because that happens real fast. Okay, we're going up the valley here. Up the valley is about an hour and a half, maybe closer to 2 hours from here, up on the Quebec side. When I was young, and the 20s, I don't know, 25, 24, every spring, okay, when the birds were chirping and you had the spring smell in the air. The company I work for, I was working for Industrial Electrical Company, and they used to get a call from these guys, and their projects were always starting in the spring as the ice thawed, and I guess they could start digging and putting some foundations in, and they had it was called, okay, for yous that are from around the valley here, it was called J.E. Boyle. It was a division. Well, they used to be on their own before, but it was a division of E.B. Eddy's, and we used to go there every spring, and some jobs lasted till into the winter. Some years, like they had one year we put a spruce mill, a brand new spruce mill. They yeah, to explain to you what this is all about. They get spruce, okay, nice spruce logs, and they debark and they come in the mill, and they saw them, and they stack them and put them back out in the yard. That's the abbreviated version of it. But this was a pretty big building and operation. But what I liked the most was in this sawmill, because this is what this was. It was a sawmill, and originally it was just pine mill. This is what this was, because up the valley here they had some big, like I'm talking big pine, eh? Well, the pine mill, when I went and worked there one year, okay, they had a steam-driven saw. Okay, it was quite the system, eh? The saw had like it was teat on the saw, was a bandsaw, big bandsaw, steam driven, and it had teat on both sides. So the carriage, there was a guy, he'd be running this thing, and the carriage would go up, saw going up and saw coming down, eh? There, not much wasted time. And he'd saw like big chunks, eh? Like square them off. And then as soon as they were squared off, he'd send it off. And then we, the royal we had installed gang saws, eh? And it was a whole bunch of saws, eh? Like they could saw, I think they were sawed 1 inch and a 3/4. Yeah, they sell you 2-inch rough, but it's never, I guess with the original first saw, that takes the from 2-inch to 1 inch and 3/4 rough that's left when it's gone through the resaw. Yeah, so it makes sense. Now you buy wood that's supposed to be 1.5 inches, but you're lucky if you get 1.25 inches. Don't ask me how that adds up. That's probably it's probably with the planing, eh? But they probably chintz you. It's always not when the calculations. It's never to your benefit. It's always to the supplier's benefit. But anyways, and. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, the pine mill, and there was a smell in this mill, eh? Like it was really, it smelled like spring, eh? And like we wouldn't live in the mill was in a little place. It was just a place. It wasn't even a little town. It was called Davidson. I think there was 3 houses in the mill. Or maybe 2 houses. It was called Davidson's. We were living in a little town close by. It was Fort Collonge, maybe 10 minutes away. And we were living at a boarding house. I think I had a story, well, I don't know when. I had a story about the boarding house. Oh yeah, the furnace I'd caught. She was heating with wood. Her name was Marie. She was heating with wood, and the electricity went out, and fire had caught. It was really stoked in the furnace, eh? And the fire people had to come. But anyways, the spruce mill, eh? Not the spruce mill. I touched the spruce mill. The pine mill, eh? That was and this was the big operation, but still they had the chain conveyor take the wood outside, and there was guys like stacking the wood, eh? There was a line every time. Okay, this is just a little side note, eh? How to make friends, eh? Every time the guys from the mill that see us every year, they knew there was 5, 10, 15, 20 guys that'd be leaving because like we were, the systems we're installing would obsolete some jobs, eh? Well, that's how it is in the days of automation, eh? And we had installed, one day I'll touch on this because I can't tell the story. Just a little bit. One day we had installed they call that a planing mill, and it was just a place, whether it be pine or spruce, and it was just a place to plane the wood, eh? Wow, when this started going, boy, yeah, that obsoleted about 50 jobs in the mill. But this was state of the art. There was two guys to run the whole operation. I'm not gonna touch on the operations here. That's for another day. Maybe next winter, when we have a lot of time to ourselves, But two guys ran this whole planing mill, and this from the unstacking and stacking of the unplaned but kiln dried wood, unstacking, run it into the planer, and then it went out the other end. It was all stacked, and it was strapped with Signad straps, and they had a cover on the wood ready to go to the yard, and the wood was brought out on a conveyor, and the big loaders would come and pick the stack, and they could accumulate outside. They accumulate 5 or 6 different stacks of different lengths and different grade. I got there's a story too about the different grades of wood, but that's for another day too, So I'm telling you all these. I always forget, Like as I'm telling the story, I think of these things, But well, when it's story time, I always forget to tell the good ones. But anyways, this place, Davidson, was on the Ottawa River, and we used to go there, and I used to like that. It wasn't probably too interesting for the ladies. Like, I had 2 kids then, and I'd be leaving on Monday morning, I forget now, around 4 o'clock, and we'd come back on Friday evening, So it wasn't too much of a family life, and the women would spend a lot of time alone, I guess. It's like it was more or less of a bachelor's life all week, and then, well, you know what? I think of it. It was something like the loggers in the days, not too far before that. The days when the loggers used to leave their home and go out in the bush and work, but in yesteryear, they used to leave in the autumn. Autumn. And they'd come back when the water dries and the logs that go down the river. Oh, we would go fishing at night when we worked. We'd go fishing at night. Well, it was prime hunting and fishing territory, So we'd go fishing at night. We ended up in a place. If you would have fell in the water, you would have been dead. It's a place where the logs used to come in, and it was deep, and there was a lot of current in the water, Like you probably would have went down if you would have fell in the water. We go just by the way, we would be peckerel fishing, and there was I call it something, but I maybe have the wrong name. It was a slough, It was made out of wood. And then what the guys that do is they pick. Well, I didn't specifically see this. It's because it was all done. But when we went and worked up there, it wasn't going on anymore. That was yesterday. They were trucking the wood when we worked there. But the infrastructure, like there was a dam, a bit of a dam, and there was this thing made out of wood, and that had carried the wood down, because there would be a bunch of chutes, and well, that's what they call that place. It was the chute, and I guess the logs would get jammed or they'd break. I don't know what, but see, up the valley, there used to be lots of big pine, like big white pine, and that was big business, and that's how, in the water, that's how they used to bring them down to the mill. But after, I don't, well, it's, people wanted the rivers for sporting activities, probably like fishing. So they more or less got the companies, or the government, to tell the companies that they can't use the rivers anymore. That they'd have to truck the big pine and the spruce down. But anyways, the whole crunch of the story is the smell that when we'd come into the pine mill every morning, and it wakes up. It's a good smell though, and I bet you if I went there today, but today it's not operating anymore. Since the days that we were working there, it got sold, and then it got sold another time, and finally it ended up Atlas Sawmill. They're in Low Quebec. They bought this, I heard, and which doesn't mean nothing to you guys that don't know the company, and they just sold all the equipment and they closed it down. So, but there's still, Atlas is still operating in Low Quebec, but this place in Davidson, I guess there wasn't enough wood left, the big wood that was left in the but there's, I tell you, I was going to say the forest is deep. There's a Black River up there, and I tell you something, there's a lot of miles with just bush, and they're really hard driving bush roads. Most of them are only accessible in the wintertime. Come to spring, and some of them are hunting roads. You need good equipment to go up them, but they were logged. They were trucked, the logs in the last part, before they stopped. I'm sure they've taken wood out of there, but it's all trucked to mills. Anyways, I was going to start naming different mills that are taking in wood still, but that'd drag on too much. Anyways, it was good work. I liked that type of work. It was industrial kind of work, and we through the years I've encountered different things, and different voltages too, and some things. One day I have to tell you about the planer. It was a planer that was bought out in the western states. See, they have 440 volts down there, and up there they had 600 volts, and they had put the planer on 600 volt, a three-phase 600 volt, and it was a three-phase 440 volt. I had to ask the engineer, like there was a head engineer for J.E. Boyle, and I had seen him at E.B. Eddie's here in Ottawa, and I had asked him, I says, how's the planer doing, is it still running? He says, that was about 10 years after we had it installed that, He says, one motor is still running and the other one burned out, and we had to change it, so. But that's irrelevant, Doesn't mean nothing to you guys. Hey, this has dragged on long enough. It was a story time up the valley with Gator. And it was good. Well, now that I think of it, But there's more stories up there, but I don't have time to even touch on the different things that come to mind. One day, I'll tell you more. Okay, until then, I wish you all a good day, and I hope you like the stories. There's stuff, hang on, going to go on outside there. I'll be taking this hat on and putting a not so warm hat on, because as the frost comes out of the earth, it'll be cultivating time, or whatever we do. It'll be going to the camp time too pretty soon. Okay, salute you all. Comments are welcome, and we'll see you in the next one.